Now that I've got the bulls here on the ranch, I'm faced with sort of a, I don't even want to say a challenge or a problem. Really, it's just more of a kind of a headache. I've got to keep these heifers and heifer bulls separated so that I make sure that he does all the breeding on them. But the only place that I have to house these guys is on this little, I think this is about a 1 acre pasture, and that is not big enough to sustain these guys on grass alone, which means that I'm gonna have to supplement them with some hay for the next couple of months while this guy's here. Normally that wouldn't be an issue, but my primary tractor is tied up right now, and I'd really rather not use my truck just because I hate getting the truck bed full of hay. So I'm gonna have to figure out a good way that I can haul hay down here every day. That's what's going on today on Farmer Tyler Ranch. Like I said before, the New Holland right now is tied up. You see, as I'm moving the cows through the ranch, I'm trying to aerate and then irrigate right behind them. So basically what that transfers into is that every 2, maybe 3 days, I have to aerate another, God, that gets confusing, aerate and irrigate. But I have to aerate another 5 or 6 acres. So it really makes the most sense for me to leave the aerator hooked up to this tractor, and to actually I just leave the tractor parked out in the field, because that aerator is so heavy that it makes it kind of difficult to drive it back and forth out here. It's just a lot easier to leave this thing hooked up. I guess what I'm saying is that this tractor, for now anyway, is unavailable. Well, that's the other thing. Once I get that platform hooked up, I gotta come move this mineral tub. It ain't doing them much good out here where they can't get to it. That's gonna be job number 1. Some of you probably guessed it, but yeah, we're gonna try to use the Jubilee. Now, regular viewers, you guys probably remember that the reason that I brought the Jubilee back here to the shop is because after I was using it at the ranch to feed, after a little while, I noticed that I had some water in my oil. But after bringing it back here to the shop and poking around and trying to figure out what might be going on, I really haven't come up with anything. I've let it idle and get up to operating temperature a few times, and the oil still looks perfectly clean. The coolant's not low, so I don't think that it was coming from there. And I got to thinking about it, and I'm wondering if that maybe when I was pressure washing it, if I might have got some water in there doing that. But I think that the best way of putting this to the test is to actually take it over there and use it every day. And I'll just have to be a lot more vigilant about checking the oil and making sure that I'm not getting any more water in there. If I am, I'll have to come up with something different. But hopefully it's kind of like I'm thinking, and the water got in there from pressure washing, and we can use this girl for the next couple of months. The Jubilee has been sitting in the shop here for a little while, and the tester shows that the battery is good. So we'll just have to see if it'll start. The ranch isn't really that far from my house, and it almost seems kind of dumb to trailer the Jubilee over there, but I got so much other stuff that I have to take with me, and I really can't carry it all while I'm sitting on that tractor. So I'm gonna trailer it over there, and then the other good thing is that then I won't have to walk back to my house. So it's not that far, but it would be a long walk. Engine oil change soon. That's not very good English, but man, it's always something. I know that it's kind of a cliche, but man, they just don't make tractors like that anymore. This thing is a 1953, and it runs probably just as good as it did when it was new. I've got the Jubilee in the barn now, and it's backed up to my hay platform that I'm gonna need to have on here. Now, I don't know if I'm sure I've said this before, but in case you don't know, the 3-point arms on this tractor don't work. So what I end up doing is I get everything hooked up, and then I have to lift that platform up with a jack and then chain the arms up. This tractor, as far as I know, has never had a hydraulic pump on it, although I know there is a place for one. It's supposed to go right there. And I think a new pump is like $800 or $900, so probably not something I'm gonna be buying anytime soon anyway. So for now, this is the best we can do, but because we have to do it this way, this is such a pain in the butt. We gotta do it, so I guess rather than sit here and dread it, I may as well just do it. All right, well, hopefully that's gonna work. I always count the links on the chain so that I kind of make sure I get that thing even. And yeah, this isn't really the greatest way to do things, but it does work. And for the way that I use this tractor, it's been working fine for years. So all we got to do now is take the jack stands off and set this thing down, kind of see where it sets, and I'll decide if I want to move it at all. Usually when I let it off the stands, it sits a lot lower than I think it's going to. So we'll let her down and see what we got. All right, well, this actually didn't turn out too bad. It is a little bit low, but for only hauling a couple bales at a time, it should be all right. We'll get her loaded down and see if it settles at all, but I think we're gonna be good. I've got these two, like 3/4, a little over half stacks here left in the barn. And I like to sort of finish the feeding season with this much hay left. This is last year's hay, by the way. And the reason that I do that is so that I will have enough hay to feed the heifers and the heifer bull during their short little breeding season. So I've got probably enough hay here for 40 days or so. Sadie, what? So that should give that heifer bull access to 2 heat cycles, and hopefully he can get it done. All right, well, we got everybody fed and happy down here at the little manger, and I'm hoping that these guys are only gonna eat about 2 bales a day. That should be about right for them. And that way I'll have enough hay to keep this heifer bull here long enough. Thanks for hanging out at the ranch with me today, guys, and I hope I'll see you again on Farmer Tyler Ranch.